Is everything all right?
Everything is okay. I was just getting ready for the first words I was going to say, and then you said that. Well, hey, welcome. The sun peaks over the horizon, and the birds are all singing as they start their day. The flowers are blooming, and all of nature is awakening.
That is so much like
Poetic,
fun.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
I worked very hard for that.
Well, so too must we. Okay, that's me trying to be Shakespeare.
Yeah, you're overdoing it.
Well, it's a bright new day. Good morning, and welcome
everybody.
to a beautiful day on your premium breakfast show.
Absolutely, it's a great day, and of course, it deserves a great solid start. It's a Tuesday, and hey, we kind of like Tuesdays, don't we? Do we?
Well, we do.
Yeah, well, like every single day. That's
all the work that comes with Tuesday.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I have a series of meetings today, and I'm like,
and that's because you left everything from a Monday into a Tuesday.
Yesterday there's a particular meeting, very important, that takes up the whole day. So
yeah.
I'm used to
that.
You
don't like being at the meeting, do you?
I actually do now. Now, being the key word.
In any case, welcome. And it's safe and accurate to say that, hey, beautiful things live here. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
That's right. So stick around. It's the best time of day, and well, we can't wait to have Mike and MM join us. Yes, this show is not just us today. It's also got MM and Mike.
It's okay, guys. Welcome for this Tuesday edition. Once again, we can't stop saying that. Shortly, we'll be cooking up a storm here, something very delicious for you guys, and of course, showing you guys how we're doing it. We've got exciting personalities, and of course, you know who we are. The whole family will be here. You guys are going to enjoy every single thing that we've put together. My name, of course, is Mazino Appeal.
And my name is Mary Bashwa Alimi. Now, you can watch the show live. What's that?
I was pointing to your name. I was sure it came up there someplace. You know, on the TV.
Well, you can watch the show live on GOTV channel 27 and on UHF band 49. Okay, that's on terrestrial. Now, you can also follow us on social media, all right? We are at TVC Connect.
Yeah. See past episodes on YouTube if you haven't been doing that. If you missed anything, I'll just go back on YouTube. You'll find it there. TVC Entertainment also is what to search out for. And send in those comments as we are live. Please use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC.
That's right. So let's tell you what we have in store for you on the show today, okay? So we kick off with health, and shortly we will be discussing frozen shoulder. That's the painful stiff shoulder you suffer. And the conversation will be with Dr. Olatubi Olawale, a physiotherapist with forte in sports medicine and orthopedic rehabilitation.
For parenting, we have the founder of Value Added Parenting, Olabisi Oni, to talk about building healthy self-esteem in your child.
Right after that, we will be having a musical performance from recording artist and inspirational singer Abraham Tosho. And finally, joining us for a chat is an actor in a Class V zone. Moshood Fatah is a Nigerian stage and screen actor, and we will be having a conversation with him in a bit.
Wants to rid the police of bad eggs.
Yes, I do, sir.
You do realize that the economy on which this city thrives is protected by the police and those who make things happen.
Yeah, corrupt politicians.
No, not those ones. I'm talking about too.
So that's Moshood. Wasn't he in Far From Home?
Yes,
Yes,
he was.
Yes, very interesting. Good morning and welcome. Tuesday edition here.
What were you guys doing yesterday?
With my wife in bed.
Oh.
Where else would I be?
TMI,
Are you trying to implicate me or
TMI.
Wait, just keep. Where were you last night when it was raining?
Sorry, I'm telling you.
I
think I'm trying to
It's so implicative, but
I was still on the move. I got in maybe like when the rain was ending. And what I really need to talk about is the drainage system in Lagos. I think it's getting worse. I don't know. And 2023, for all intents and purposes, is going to be a rainier year.
we have been warned.
There'll be much more rain. And so normal routes I'll pass that would normally have water maybe recede in time, it was still well flooded and all of that yesterday, night and all of that. So I was really worried. You know, there's a particular place I know and I just didn't, I was so bugging that, oh man, if you try it. And then this morning I'm hearing some sounds. You know, from the car.
I feel...
And I know I had, in fact, there was a point, there was one guy behind me at one point, and the guy was trying to phone Jackie Chan. And then when he saw, if you do this thing, this guy, from like say, he gets sense. Because it's not that I cannot drive. I like rain. If you road is okay, I will drive speed. But when the water on the ground, you'll be entering. So we really have to do something about that.
We really need kick against discipline of years ago to come back, really.
Oh, Kai,
We've spoken
wow. How old
over
are you? Wow.
and over. Was I even born then? But we've spoken over and over again about the way people dump stuff in the drainages. So you people, I don't know how you do these things. You throw bottles out of the window, rain is falling, you're sweeping your rubbish into the drainage, believing that it's carrying the... Where is it carrying it to?
Yeah, but then again, I think there's also, well, like I always say, I think everyone has a role to play when it comes to the drainage system, right? Because there's also orientation, there's awareness. If people don't know that, okay, I mean, like if you go to other countries, you see that at every bus stops, there are recycle bins. There are bins for plastics, there are bins for nylons, there are bins for all of that. So you properly dump. And there are always, you know, those signs, please dump refuse here. Please dump this here. So there's a lot of work that also needs to be done from every...
See, even in hospitals where they say put cotton wool here, you will see people put bottles there. It is a mentality thing. We need to work on it.
Maybe we should do what Rwanda did, where the ban plastic bags and stuff, and it's really helped. It's a very clean place.
It does. It does.
Well, in a lot of countries too, not just Rwanda.
Let's just hope that these things get easier. Time for the news update on Wake Up Nigeria. I am Mary Bashua Alimi. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission is asking the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to vary the orders which was earlier granted the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Peter Obi, to inspect materials used for last presidential election. In a motion and notice filed, the electoral body is praying the courts to vary the order which restrained it from tampering with materials used for the election. The commission said it needed to reconfigure the 8-model voter accreditation system for the next round of elections. The Court of Appeal, Abuja, had granted the request of Obi and Atiku to have access to all the sensitive materials INEC deployed for the conduct of the presidential election held on February 25. The applicants urged the courts to compel INEC to allow them to obtain documents in its custody which were used for the presidential election. Away from that, in Rivers State, the governor, Nyesom Wike, says he did not criticize the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, or the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, in the just concluded February 25 presidential election because he is an apostle of power shift to the southern region of Nigeria. Wike, who spoke at the commissioning of Chokocho Igbodo Road in the Elche local government area of Rivers State, said he owed nobody an apology for supporting the rotation of power to the south after the 8-year tenure of the incumbent, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is from Katsina State in the northwest geopolitical zone. The Rivers governor also commended the people for voting a southern president in the just concluded election. According to him, the PDP constitution recognizes zoning and rotational presidency, but the leadership of the party contravened the provisions of the party's regulations.
Nobody any apologies at all. And one of the apostles and one of those who stood firm that power must rotate. I said so. Each time I went out for campaign, nobody has had me criticize Obi. Have I ever done that? No. Nobody has had me criticize Aswadi. Have I ever done that? No. What I did, and I owe nobody any apologies. Vote for the Southern president, whoever you want to. But because you can hear.
To foreign news now, the head of Russia's Wagner private army says it is not getting the ammunition it needs from Moscow as it seeks to gain control of Bakhmut. The eastern city has seen months of intense fighting as Wagner and regular Russian troops try to seize it. But Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin says his army's lack of ammunition could be ordinary bureaucracy or a betrayal. Ukraine's president and military commanders have agreed to strengthen their defense of Bakhmut. Russia has appeared determined to capture the city for months, but many analysts say it has become a symbolic prize in the war and has little strategic value. An apparent rivalry between the mercenaries and the regular Russian army seems to have intensified in recent weeks. And that's it on the news update for the Sound Wake Up Nigeria. There is so much more to come. Just stay with us.
So good morning and welcome back. Let's do the dailies this morning. If you're planning to pick up one of the dailies, let's let you know what you'll be finding on their front pages. We're going to start this morning from the Punch newspaper, our first newspaper. And the Punch newspaper has this big headline for starters. Supreme Court order on old notes. Banks in partial compliance begin skeletal recirculation. That on page 17. A very interesting read it will be for everyone there, as everybody is in fact involved here. Few banks pay old 500 naira, 1,000 naira on Monday. Others await directive as Emefiele keeps mum. Most ATMs remain dry. Skeptical bank customers, traders reject old notes from banks. And to the side of the photo story here, in fact, under the photo story, we have this headline here, 203 hoodlums arrested during presidential poll, say the police. And to the side of that, Whitney, Chrislin Sikh autopsy review inquest begins April 4. And 50 feared killed as suspected herdsmen invade Benue communities. At the top of the Punch newspaper, don't handle education like Buhari, ASU tells Tinubu. And government seeks 327 billion naira donor funding for census. And Atiku vows to extend protest, demands result cancellation. Let's move now to our next daily, and that will be the Daily Trust. Front and center for the Daily Trust, we have this headline here. Queues for cash persist. Customers bribe bank officials. Banks pay old notes in Kano, Abuja, and Ibadan. Customers decry poor electronic services. Well, tell me about it. Many killed in Benue farmers' herders clash, and IGP puts CPs on alert for post-election crisis. Dogua granted 500 million naira bail, barred from Kano governorship poll. We move on now to our third paper for the morning, and that's the Guardian newspaper. At the, front and center for the Guardian, Atiku leads supporters to INEC, threatens daily protests. INEC owes allegiance to Nigerians, not any political party, says Okoye. Retire from politics, go to Dubai, stop embarrassing yourself, Tinubu tells Atiku. At the top for the Guardian, imperative to prosecute election offenders and violators. Goes without saying, it should. Uncertainty over next election as INEC seeks to reconfigure BVAS and Senate presidency. APC tips Southeast. That on page 7. Lawyers demand income expenditure details on INEC on electoral processes. Let's take a look at the bottom for the Guardian. Diphtheria kills 61,783, kills 61, while 783 others hospitalized in Kano. And finally, waiting game as lawyers argue CBN's compliance with Supreme Court verdict. That's all we can take for the headlines on the dailies this morning, hoping that you pick one up. And if you've got something you want to tell, do use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria Would love to hear from you. Let's take a break now. We'll be back for a coffee gist. Oh. Welcome.
What was that?
I don't know. It's Mario. She's excited to have me.
Can you imagine?
Always excited. Can't help it. Anyhow, welcome, guys. Oh, something very interesting. Hey, support your friends, support your friends. That's what they say. Did you guys see the tweet by Black Girl Magic? She said, my friend sells stuff from the trunk of her car. She sells the coffee that I love so much for 6,000 naira, but she gives her friends a discount of 1,000 naira. Now, guess what? I saw the same coffee in a shop for 3,000 naira. Support your friends, they say. How so unfair? Now, this is one thing. Wait. No, that's what she says, according to her, in a quote. I recently went into
Into wet puppy socks.
No, I need to hear what this guy wants to say.
I have a new brand, and it's called Wet Puppy Socks.
Coffee brand.
Yeah, I have a sample for you, by the way.
All right.
Remind me, I'm going to give it to you.
I'll try.
Support your friends, support your
It's socks. So I now have a brand called Wet Puppy Socks, and I'm planning to expand on it, branding and everything. And I'm starting with my network and friends, of course. But they say when you support your friend, they say the kokoro to jefo inu efo wa.
Hey, kokoro to jefo follower.
So you're suffering.
He tried.
Your suffering is actually within your circle.
So you know what? This thing's very because these two sell stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially Mary.
Mary sells car on her head. She like buy moto.
Mary can be selling human skull. I don't know.
No, I sell everything but
level
human
Mary
beings.
goes.
Please,
Go and look at
please,
Mary's-
please. There's a line.
Mary
But
sells-
are friends responsible for actually ruining businesses, do you think? I mean, no. Well, not ruining business. Are people taking advantage of that circle, that community, to not defraud, but extort?
Yes.
Exploit.
So
There's
let me tell you something that made me look at this tweet and try to give her a two-way thing. So over the years, there's something I'm always trying to research, find a cheaper supplier. So I started from, okay, because somebody needs this item, okay, let me ask this person, I'll mark up with 500 naira and then just sell it. But over the years, I've been able to find the supplier of my supplier. I don't know if you get it.
Yeah.
So, in fact, more
Gets
than,
cheaper
like
as
now,
you do.
for shoes, for example, what I sell now is the same price I was selling then. But guess what? Delivery inclusive. Why? Because I've been able to get it that much cheaper where I am now. So sometimes it's not because of the fact that the person is marking up too much. It might be the fact that she's probably buying it from that 3,000 naira seller, or the person she's buying from
It's
probably
also-
sells
yeah.
for like 4,000 naira.
Perhaps, yeah.
Because she doesn't know where they get it from in wholesale.
True,
So
actually.
I'm just going to excuse her on that. It takes a while for you to really get those,
So no, that
reliable
is a
suppliers.
probability.
Yeah, that's a
Could be.
probability.
That's one.
Yeah.
Number two, maybe what she gives you convenience. Maybe she could drive
It's
to your
easier.
house.
There is that.
You have to go look for it elsewhere to get it 3,000.
Yeah.
So there is all of that. But yes, people do take. But for me, it's not taking advantage. For me, it's business. Yes, it is not taking advantage. You could come and tell her, hey, friend, I saw this somewhere cheaper.
Yeah.
I would not buy from that.
That would help
because I
her,
saw it
And she might
cheaper.
decide to actually sell it to you
Yeah,
for that
and she
amount.
says, yes,
You're
I know
right.
it's business. I decided to buy maybe even 1,000 and make it's business.
Okay, so first
And for
off,
business, there's no what else?
There's no friend in business.
first off, yeah, the girl complaining about her friend exploiting her. First, I'm looking at it from another angle. She's being entitled to her friend's business. You don't know how your friend started that business. So why are you feeling entitled to it? If she's saying this is the cost at which she's selling that product, why can't you just support her? If you don't want to support her, then do not support her. But if you have, Mary has never supported me before. Never bought anything from me before. But it has never affected our relationship.
Thank God, though, for that ready to wear I bought. Otherwise, they would have put my name
No,
down.
it has never affected our relationship. Mike has never patronized me before, even if I'm giving him free things.
Thank you.
It has never affected our relationship.
I won't say your lunch. No.
Support
But
your friends, they
I
said.
still
That's
love
the way
you,
your
like-
friends, they said.
I still love Mary. Either way. Do you understand? Yeah, do you understand? Right. You get. So,
There's something about this fund. So I have friends that sell things, smaller things, and then none of them has ever called me for a speaking engagement. Say my money is too. No, how many friends that
Mike,
they
am I
have
giving
paid
you jobs?
for a speaking
Mike,
engagement?
am I giving you jobs? I'm not giving you jobs. You
This
see.
is not what we
We need
meant.
to
This-
take a break now.
we have
Okay,
to
so
settle
because this is
fights.
going to be very
Oh,
intense.
that. So
We'll
I've
be
never
right
supported
back.
before.
Keep watching.
We are back. Thanks for staying with us. It's the kitchen segment, guys. And with me in the kitchen this morning is Chef Betsy. Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine.
It's so good to have you here. There's something about her whenever she's here on the show. Yes, so this morning she is making spaghetti bolognese. Right. And let's run through the ingredients, shall we?
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead.
Well, for the spaghetti bolognese with sliced chicken sauce.
Okay.
So we are going to use our spaghetti. Then we have some veggies. We have some veggies, our carrots, our green pepper. We'll be adding onions. I'll also be adding some seasoning. We'll be adding crayfish.
Oh, crayfish. Okay.
Yes. Then for the
Sauce.
I'll be using soft chicken.
Oh,
So that
okay.
it will be easy for us to eat it.
Work
more.
with and yeah, okay.
So be using the soft chicken. It will be sliced. I'll add some seasoning as well. Then some spices. So then we'll add the sauce. Then
We give it a go. Ooh. Looks yummy, guys. What do you think? pretty stoked about this morning's recipe, and that's because I personally love spaghetti. Right, so let's get cooking. So go grab your pots, pan, whatever it is that we need to make this happen. If you're just joining us, with me in the kitchen this morning is Chef Betty, and we are making spaghetti bolognese. Yes. So this is more of an Italian meal, actually, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's more of an Italian meal. I think the only missing ingredient here is your minced meats, which you practically use to make meatballs. Right, but hey, we are substituting it with soft chicken because soft chicken is easily accessible, right? And we're working with ingredients that are easily accessible, ones that we can get around us
so that
very
easily. Our
easily.
viewers will not have a challenge when they need to cook.
Exactly. And it's also very affordable, guys.
Yes.
Soft chicken is so affordable. I think it's even cheaper than orobo.
Yes.
And even the like regular broiler chicken.
Yes, it's cheaper.
Great. Okay, so we're getting things. Okay, so please, we need you closer. So what do we need to do now?
So I'll be boiling the spag itself.
Okay,
spaghetti.
okay. So once that is ready, then what's next?
I will go to the veggies and cut them.
Okay.
Then get them ready for the finishing.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So we'll just we'll get things ready in a bit, right? So first off, we're working with our spaghetti, right?
Yes.
We are going to cook our spaghetti till it's what, dainty, like till it's really soft, or
just a bit tender, so it won't just match together.
okay. And then for the sauce, explain the process for our sauce.
I will get the vegetable on the saucepan.
Okay.
So once it's we'll add the onions.
Okay.
So we stir fry it for like a minute, 2 minutes.
Okay.
Depending on the temperature of the oil that we have. So we had our pepper, we had our seasoning and the spices. Then the last thing that goes in is the vegetable before the sliced chicken itself.
Chicken, okay.
Yes.
So we're having like a spaghetti and spicy chicken sauce. Ooh. Looks interesting, guys. What do you think, you're watching at home? At what point does the crayfish go in, though?
It goes into the spaghetti itself.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a different way of making your spaghetti, right? Because it's going to give it that extra flavor. So you don't even need to add seasoning cubes to your spaghetti. Just the crayfish and a little bit of salt works, right?
Yes.
I'm definitely going to try this. If this is something that you are interested in and you definitely can't wait to try out, let us know on all our social media platforms at TVC Connect. Do not forget to send us pictures or videos. We'd like to know that you are a part of what's happening here in the kitchen, because we do this for you guys. You really need to know that we do this for you. Great. So now let me put this on so that we can get things started here in the kitchen. As we all know, I'm supposed to be a sous chef, right? Yeah. I'm supposed to be her assistant chef, right? So I'm just going to make sure that this is on, and then we are going to get our pan heated up as well for our spicy chicken sauce. I know the spaghetti can be, I mean, it keeps rising.
Yes.
This week, it's like they'll add 10 naira to it. Now they're sending 100, they'll add 100 naira to it.
Everything is just in the market now.
It's really expensive. But hey, you could also work with rice, you know, yams, plantain, whatever, you know.
You can afford
to work with.
It's not compulsory you get some things. You can work with anything you have.
Yeah.
And give the family the best.
Exactly. You heard it from Chef Betsy. While we're prepping things up here in the kitchen, let's move over to the couch for some health discussion with Mike.
I'm looking forward to how that turns out. We have health this morning, frozen shoulder, aka painful stiff shoulder, and there is no better person to talk about that than a friend of the house, Dr. Olatubi Olawale, a physiotherapist with his forte in sports medicine and orthopedic rehabilitation. Great to have you, Doc. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Been a while. Yes. Okay, so what do we call it now? Stiff, what's it now? Frozen shoulder. Why is it called frozen shoulder? What are the symptoms of that particular ailment, or as it were?
Okay, a frozen shoulder actually happens to the shoulder joint, and is characterized by stiffness of the shoulder. That's restricted range of motion of the shoulder joint. Now, the shoulder joint is a very complex joint. It has muscles surrounding it, it has ligaments surrounding it, and it's one of the most movable joints in the body. So, so you have flexion, extension, circumduction, we have abduction. So it's a very movable joint. So when there is stiffness and painful joint, stiffness when it comes, you cannot move your joint past this level, then it's called frozen shoulder.
Frozen shoulder. Causes?
Now, frozen shoulder can be primary, it can be secondary. The primary cause can be as a result of diabetes. People with diabetes actually are prone to having frozen shoulder. And people with Parkinson's are actually prone to having frozen shoulder. Also, people with thyroid disease are often prone to having frozen shoulder. That the secondary cause actually can be as a result of post-injury to the joint. Probably you've had an injury to the joint before, it's healed, and probably when you were treating your joint, you didn't properly move the joint. You are prone to having that frozen shoulder. Also, it can happen to people with stroke, that had stroke, post-stroke patients are prone to having frozen shoulder. Then if you had a tear on your muscle, because we have a rotator cuff muscles around the shoulder joint. So if you had a tear before and it healed up, you are prone to having this stiffness of the joint. And the stiffness is characterized by you not being able to move past a level, both actively and passively. Example now, if I tell you, Mike, move your shoulder joint up like this, and you can able to move it, but it's stiff like this. And I even try to move it for you, and it's still stiff.
Okay,
Then
so that's passive now.
That's passive now. When you do it yourself, it's active. When I do it for you, and it still can't go past this level.
Wow.
It's still, that's what we call frozen shoulder.
Wow. Wonderful. And I found out that also, apart, before we get into the treatment and all that, I found out that the shoulder is also about the most used joint when you're working out.
Yes, it's the most movable joint in the body.
Most used joint in the body, because
use
a lot of, when you're trying to build the upper body, you basically almost cannot do without your shoulder. It has to be involved in almost every form of exercise. So it's a very, very important joint, like you said. So let's go to treatment now. How can it be treated? Or maybe let's start with diagnosis. There can be other things that affect the shoulder that is not frozen shoulder.
Yes.
So getting a good diagnosis, of course, it means going to see a good physiotherapist or something.
The first thing to know about diagnosis is your physical examination. When I see your shoulder joint, I tell you, move your hand up, deflection, and you can't move it to this level. Even if I try to move it for you, and it's still not moving past that level, that's one of the first diagnoses. And I tell you to do there's something we call external rotation of the shoulder joint.
Okay.
My hand is like this. I try to move it this way, and there's problem doing it. That's a diagnosis. Then to rule out other ailments, we can do X-rays and MRI, because not only frozen shoulder can cause stiffness of the shoulder joint, as I said. You can have injury on your shoulder joints. You can have dislocation. You can have ligament tear. You can have tendinitis. So, but frozen shoulder, the first diagnostic tool for frozen shoulder is physical examination.
Okay, all right.
Then, and that's 3 phases. The first phase is actually the freezing phase. The freezing phase is the painful part of the phase, the painful phase of the injury. It lasts for like 4 to 6 weeks. It's always just painful, serious pain, and the pain is more at night.
Why so?
Because when your body is calm, you're in a calm position, the pain triggers more at night. And probably you've done a lot of stressful activity during the day. So at night, so when you are relaxed, the pain is actually more. Sometimes the pain even wakes you up at night. That's the first phase. The second phase is actually the frozen phase. That is okay. Now the pain is down. Now there's restriction of movement. Is now actually frozen.
Frozen, okay.
Then the last phase, actually the towering phase, it is now resolving. Now the pain is down, the movement is now better. And treatment actually can last for more than 2 years. It's not an easy thing to resolve a frozen shoulder. But the major treatment for frozen shoulder is actually pain relief first.
Pain relief, okay.
When you cannot move a joint when your joint is painful. If I tell you that, okay, let me move your joint and move, you want to even bite in that. It's painful. So reduction of pain movement.
What kind of medication, injection-wise, or the oral medication?
Oral medication is fine. The NSAIDs, they are called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, just to relieve the inflammation around the joint. Then when the pain is down, the next phase is now you do range of motion exercises. That is where the physiotherapy comes in. Because what we do is actually we make sure that you move your joint in all range of motion. Now you can use your unaffected hand to even to assist your affected hand. Okay. I can tell you, okay, probably when you're having difficulty in putting your hand at your back like this, maybe when you want to have your bath, your hand can't go to your back. We can do some exercises by yourself. You can use a long stick or a long brush or a long towel. You just use this hand to support it here, then you pull. So when you're using this other hand, the strong hand, to support to increase the range of motion. It's actually another exercise you can do. Then the next phase of rehabilitation is strengthening. When you're able to achieve range of motion exercises, the next thing is for you to strengthen the muscles and the muscles around the joint.
Around that joint.
Then with that, I think that is okay. Then the next phase, probably they can go for manipulation. When it's not going, they can go for serious manipulation when you're under anesthesia, or they can even go for surgery. How do you,
I know this is something that you've met people that maybe they come to you after maybe they've gone to a traditional bone healer or something when they have this kind of issues. Well, what is your take on situations where people, maybe they have those things and then they go to traditional bone healers before, or, you know, traditional doctors, as it were, traditional medicine, instead of orthodox, as it were? How would, in situations like this, how would you, because at times maybe you could make the situation worse, as it were. So what's your take on it?
Personally, I really don't have any problem with traditional bone setters, but the issue I'm just having is that for any medical condition, proper diagnosis is required. The proper diagnosis will give you the direct way where you're going to. Most people they just use idea. It has happened to somebody before. We did this one. We tried to do like this. We tried to do like this. We tried to do that. And it's not always, all conditions are not the same. So when you have a proper diagnosis, okay, this is what is wrong. This is the movement. This is the treatment of what to be done. There is no problem with that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Doctor. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, and I know that this is something people would have learned quite a lot from.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, okay, that's it. Hope you're able to pick up something from there. But like I always say, the first thing, and like doctors always said, diagnosis. Ensure you go talk to a physiotherapist, and then they should exactly diagnose what is wrong with you. That's all that we can take on health this morning. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's quite more to come on the show.
Now let's talk parenting, and today we have the founder of Value-Added Parenting, Olabisi Oni, to talk about building healthy self-esteem in your child. This is a topic I find very interesting, and it's so good to have you in the studio with us today. All right, I'd like us to establish what self-esteem actually is when you talk about children, because in adults it's similar, but there are also some varieties in it as well. There's a way it varies. So I'd like you to tell us, when you say self-esteem in a child, what does that mean?
Okay, so what I mean by building self-esteem in your child is letting your child knows his or her values, who he or she is, all right, based on who God has created the child to be. It's not based on material things, those one comes after. But first of all, you need to build your child up in the innermost. So that whenever the child goes out, he wants to be bullied, he knows that I am created in God's image. And if you are talking down on me, it means you are talking down on God. That's actually how I put it to my children. That, in fact, you are the perfect image of God. So if somebody tells you your head is big, it means they are referring to God. So just laugh at the person and tell the person, it means you are talking back to God. Okay, so that is the most important one. Build your child's value. Let them have their confidence in themselves, no matter their body shape, no matter who they are, no poor, rich, no matter the situation. Let them believe in themselves. So that's how I
feel like you've already started answering the question, because you've talked about value when it comes to building your child's self-esteem. What other suggestions do you have?
All right, so what I'm going to say is that for parents, you need to teach your child how to say no.
How to say no?
No, yes. That's most of the things we find difficult to say, even
I feel
adults.
like parents need to learn how to say no, first of all.
Yes,
but
in fact, parenting is about the parents, not even the child. You, first of all, must find yourself, know who you are, then that's where you'll be able to raise the one that God has put in your care. So learning to say no, adults find it difficult to say no because of the fear of what people will say. Even we can see it during the election that's still going on. Some parents don't want their children to go out because they are afraid of unknown, you know, what they don't know that's going to happen. Same thing we are transferring to our children, even in this generation, in this time as this. Okay, so teaching your child to say no is going to save your child from a lot of things. Bullying from adults and children. And not only tell your child to say no to children alone, even adults. Because we also have adults that are child abusers, and they are out there. They are in your family. They are in your church. They are in schools. Yes, part of the teachers. And this is going to happen if you allow yourself to be used. Because if you don't accept no, if you are not comfortable with your child telling you no, then there is no way the child will be able to stand up outside.
I'd like to digress just for a short while. How do you teach your child to say no?
Okay.
Because it's one thing to say no, but you know how, for example, your teacher, there's this thing about teachers and the child. It's a thin line between being rude to your teacher and being firm. And then, of course, there's this fear many children have of their teacher. Now, I'm using teacher because that's a position of authority, and we know how children can be when it comes to their teachers. So I'm just wondering, how do you teach your child to say no?
Okay, so involve your child in the affairs of the home. Okay, now, you are used to giving your child what to wear all the time. And here comes maybe one day the child said, Mom, I don't want to wear this. It means the child is growing. Allowing the child to choose what he wants to wear at that particular time is you accepting the child's opinion, suggestion. You are having things to go on. Things have always been going on in your own way. But this time, the child said, no, Mommy, please. I'm a parent, so it happens to me all the time. Mommy, please, I don't want to wear this sandal. This is what I want to wear. Allowing the child to have his way at that particular time is you teaching the child that saying no sometimes is acceptable and it's okay.
But of course, it's important to also know when to tell that child, no, you can't wear it. It's raining, you can't wear the white sneakers. Now, let's get back to building your child's self-esteem. So we've talked about value. We've talked about knowing how to say no. What else do you have?
Listening to your child, paying attention to your child. Most of the time, because you are tired, you've gone to work, you are back, the child wants to tell you things that's gone wrong while in school. You're like, you talk too much. And children are different. You need to know your child's temperament. Some prefer to say it in the action ways because they prefer movement. But some, they are, we name them, some people are gentle, but you read it in their body language. Some, they are talkative. I have a son that he can talk from morning to night. Yes, he will explain everything to you. So if you have that kind of child, you can say you talk too much. You must give your child listening ear, pay attention to your child, and trust your child. Another thing is affirm your child. What do you say to your child every morning? Who is your child? If your child goes out and somebody wants to bully, how do your child stand up? You don't have to teach your child that he should fight back. It means you are raising a violent child, or you are teaching your child to also be a bully. But there is a way your child can actually stand up to a bully without raising his or her hands. Is you affirm your child every morning. Do you have words of affirmation your child speak to himself or herself at home? When your child wakes up in the morning, do you wake your child up with a slap, with a kick, or you say words who your child is? And then in your family also, what do you guys do? How do you bring up your, like, there is something called honor as a skill. How do you honor your child at home? How do you speak to your child? Do you speak to your child because she's a toddler or is a toddler? Or you speak to your child like you are talking to an adult? Like I tell the girl that stays with me, you talk with these children the way you talk to me, meaning honor. And same thing with my children, because she's a help in the house doesn't mean that you should talk to her anyhow. You talk to her the way you talk to me as well. So it is important that we build this in our children. Respect your child. That also will help your child to be able to build his or her self-esteem. And there is a saying in Yoruba, like what you garbage in is garbage out. What you do to your child at home is what your child will do outside. So when you respect your child, in fact, he's expecting the same thing from someone else outside. So when they speak low of that child, you'll be like, no, this is not me. You don't talk to me that way.
In fact, this is a
rude.
conversation that I'm enjoying so much, and I wish it could just continue because I have so many questions for you. But at this point, we have to head over to the kitchen. But really, thank you so much for your time, Olabisi Oni, founder of Value-Added Parenting. Well, at this point, we have to join MM and Chef Betty in the kitchen, wondering how far they've gone with breakfast.
It's going so well, Mary. Quite an insightful conversation there. Well done. Well done. All right, it's the kitchen, guys. And with me is Chef Betty. And we are making spaghetti bolognese. I know, right? I know. Let's run through the ingredients once again.
Okay, we have our pepper. We use the scornets and the tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. So I grind it. It won't be too smooth like that. So
you blended it roughly.
Yes.
Okay.
It won't be smooth. So with onions added inside.
Okay.
So we have our vegetables, our carrots, our green pepper.
Okay.
Our onions.
Okay.
So diced in cubes.
Okay.
Which we have here now. So we're adding the onions to that place.
Okay.
So we also have our crayfish.
Oh, which is going into the spaghetti.
the spaghetti.
And I see that our spaghetti
Yes,
is cooking
it's
already here.
So we'll soon bring it down.
It's the thin spaghetti we are using,
Yes.
right? So it's not going to take so long.
At all, so that it won't get too soft.
Yeah, it's called the spaghettini, right? Okay, and at what point does the crayfish go into the spaghetti?
Once we have after bringing this down now,
okay.
So I'm preparing the sauce for the spaghetti itself.
Okay.
So once I'm done adding the vegetables, I will add the crayfish. So we stay together and allow it to steam for like 5 minutes.
We're adding sorry, say that again. We're adding the crayfish to the sauce. To the spaghetti.
Sauce.
Oh, the vegetable is also going into the spaghetti.
Sauce.
Oh, okay. Let's see if the other burner is on so that we can begin work on the sauce, right?
Yes, we are doing that.
Right. Okay. Let's see if that's going to come on. It's coming on, I think. Let's give it a bit of time. Okay. That's it. So now that our pan is hot and dry.
We're adding our
vegetable oil. Great.
So
can you use butter?
Actually, I have not tried that.
Okay.
But it's possible. At least once you met butter.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
there's that flavor
to it.
Exactly.
So it's possible.
Exactly.
There's
that extra flavor that butter gives.
Please, our viewers can try that in the house.
So yeah, which do you prefer, vegetable oil or butter?
You can try that.
Margarine, right? Okay, so now that that's done.
So allow this to heat a bit.
Okay.
So I will check this so that I can bring it down.
Spaghetti is coming on really nicely.
This is okay
Spaghettini.
now. We have to remove this.
Okay.
So it won't get too soft.
Okay. So we're going to do that in a bit. Let's just wait for the oil to heat up so that our viewers can see how we're making our sauce for our spaghetti. So once the oil is hot, what's going in?
Adding the onions.
Okay. After the onions, then what's next?
We'll add the pepper.
Okay, after that?
So we'll add the seasoning and the spices.
Okay.
So after that, we add the
vegetables,
then the crayfish.
Then the crayfish.
So
and then at what point does the chicken go in?
No, the chicken is a separate sauce on its own. Oh,
it's not going into the spaghetti.
Yes.
Okay, there's a lot of work still going on here in the kitchen. Pretty stoked about this morning's recipe. Let us know what you think. It's something that you'll definitely make, if you will. Hit us up on all our social media platforms at TVC Connect. We're hitting up the top of the hour, people. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, so we have the right content to help you start your day off right. And so at this point, we just have to say thank you so much for staying tuned.
Thank you for staying tuned for the past 1 hour. We still got about an hour to go, and there's still so much more to come here. So a warm welcome back inside this hour. There's undoubtedly the best thing happening on TV right now. Well, that's this.
And
Wake Up
talking about
Nigeria.
the best things happening, my goodness, breakfast,
Are you almost falling?
No.
Okay. All right, we're having spaghetti today, are we? Yay! how's it going in there?
Spaghetti. Yes, that's what we're having this morning, spaghetti bolognese. And Chef Betty's had at work, making sure that everything comes together all nicely. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's the meatballs I like best.
I'm looking forward to those, exactly. We still have so much, guys, so please stick around for the next 45 minutes. We'll spend that with you, so we expect that you also do so the same.
That's right. My name is Mary Bashua Alimi, and you can watch the show live on GOTV channel 27 and on UHF band 49. That's on terrestrial, okay? Of course, you know you can also follow us on social media across all our platforms at TVC Connect.
See the past episodes of the show on YouTube. All you need to do is find it out. TVC Entertainment, that's the word to search for. Send the comments in using the hashtag WakeUpNigeria
Now, let's tell you what we have this hour. Still to come on the show is a musical performance from recording artist and inspirational singer Abraham Tosho.
Life
is about competition. When one person take one step, you take another step ahead.
Chai. Now I'm craving amala.
I know exactly.
Oh,
The kids were buying. I'm like, been a while since I've had my amala, egg, and everything
amala
combination.
yesterday. So someone bought food just before
Okay,
me.
so sorry, before you
Wait,
making
1 minute.
reference to the movie, Moshood Fatai actually featured in the Battle of the Booker, that one you just saw. That's making you crave amala.
Okay, so actually what I was going to say was, in front of me, the person who was ordering food ordered eba. And then ewedu with vegetable. And I'm like, is that a thing? And then the lady goes, yeah, Bola, shout out to you. She goes, yes, now that it tastes nice. I said, can I try it to amala? She said, yes. Dude, that's what I had yesterday.
And it was good.
Amala with ewedu and vegetable. And it was nice.
How did you pay for it?
Transfer now.
Aha. Yeah, I'm trying to segue into your problem from yesterday.
Transfer.
Proceed.
I suffered yesterday. Oh. So I did a lot of transfers yesterday to make payments for almost any. In fact, there was something I bought for 200. I had to do transfer. And that's already 10 naira. Yes, I used to calculate it. So at the end of the day, I realized that I got to a particular place where I wanted to make payments. The woman I buy plantain from. And she goes, you know it's cash. I said, madam, there is no cash today. Because all the POS I'm passing are saying no cash. And you know when POS says, these POS folks say no cash, you know it is red. But that's not even the challenge. That's not even the real thing. By the way, thank you to that woman that gave me 150 to take by because I only had 50 naira in my pocket. But that's by the way. No, I got home and one of the transfers I did was reversed. This is a transfer that I got receipts for.
Yeah.
Showed the woman. And it's making me wonder, how are businesses coping? Because not everybody, like I'm going to have to go back there today to clear it out with the woman that, oh, I got the money back. But how are businesses, coping? Because when someone sends you money, you say, please send the receipt. The person sends the receipt. There's proof.
Yeah.
So if you tell the person you never got the money, the person will tell you that's not their problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's even for people who are honest.
Yeah, well,
how are
very
businesses
true about
coping?
that. My wife also experienced the same thing. From 2 weeks ago, she got a reversal for 4,000 naira.
From 2 weeks
that was
ago.
declined, and then got a reversal for the actual amount that actually went through. I don't know. Have you experienced anything like that, Mike?
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Let me, and it's hard. It's hard. Like you said, I wonder how people do it. You send money, like and many people would wait until they get their alert. And I don't have any problem against them. If I was in business, I'll probably do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that because the one like, if I don't get the alert, sorry.
I actually
get alerts and get
I really
reversed.
felt the bite of the cash crunch last week when I went to Mount 12, my regular shopping.
Okay.
And because like I buy tomatoes and pepper in like large quantities, those guys were vehemently refusing transfers. If you don't have money, buy. Yes.
They've had issues with
it.
it.
Because they've had so and then there was a POS operator there. I'm sure that guy made a killing. Or he still is making a killing every single day because for every 10,000 naira, he's charging 2,000 naira on it. Yeah. And as the more amounts you ask for, the more charges on it.
At this point, I've got to give a shout out to salary earners who got their alerts, but the money got reversed. Yes, there were some people it happened to. That's how bad it is. Like, you saw your alert and it gets reversed. That's crazy.
This is where the microfinance banks and the secondary financial institutions are now making more sense because they are even more reliable. Those ones, secondary financial institutions and then microfinance banks, they're the ones that their POSs work well. You can rely on them, even though once in a while they're being touched.
I agree with you, Mike.
Let's hope that you're not suffering through these processes. We're hoping that it all becomes better as the week goes on.
Time for the news update on Wake Up Nigeria. I am Mary Bashua Alimi. The Independent National Electoral Commission is asking the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to vary the orders which was earlier granted the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Peter Obi, to inspect materials used for last presidential election. In a motion or notice filed, the electoral body is praying the court to vary the order which restrained it from tampering with materials used for the election. The commission said it needed to reconfigure the bimodal Victor accreditation system, VOTA for the next round of elections. The Court of Appeal Abuja had granted the request of Obi and Atiku to have access to all the sensitive materials INEC deployed for the conduct of the presidential election, held on February 25. The applicants urged the courts to compel INEC to allow them to obtain documents in its custody that were used for the presidential election. Away from that, the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, says he did not criticize the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his All Progressives Congress counterpart, Bola Tinubu, in the just concluded February 25 presidential election because he is an apostle of power shifts to the southern region of Nigeria. Wike, who spoke at the commissioning of Chokocho Igbodo Road in the Eche local government area of Rivers State, said he owed nobody an apology for supporting the rotation of power to the south after the 8-year tenure of the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari, who is from Katsina State in the northwest geopolitical zone. The Rivers governor also commended the people for voting a southern president in the just concluded election. According to him, the PDP constitution recognized zoning and rotational presidency, but the leadership of the party contravened the provisions of the party's regulations.
I remain to the challenge. I owe nobody any apologies at all. I'm one of the apostles and one of those who stood firm that power must rotate. I said so. Each time I went out for campaign, nobody has heard me criticize Obi. Have I ever done that? No. Nobody has heard me criticize Aswadi. Have I ever done that? No. What I did, and I owe nobody any apologies. Vote for the Santa president, whoever you want to. But because you can hear me, I said to you clearly.
Now, the head of Russia's Wagner private army says it is not getting the ammunition it needs from Moscow as it starts to gain control of Bakhmut. The eastern city has seen months of intense fighting as Wagner and regular Russian troops try to seize it. But Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin says his army's lack of ammunition could be ordinary bureaucracy or a betrayal. Ukraine's president and military commanders have agreed to strengthen their defense of Bakhmut. Russia's appeared determined to capture the city for months, but many analysts say it has become a symbolic prize in the war and has little strategic value. An apparent rivalry between the mercenaries and the regular Russian army seems to have intensified in recent weeks. And that's it on the news update for today on Wake Up Nigeria. There is so much more to come. Just stay with us.
And we are back. Thanks
She's
for
back
staying
again.
with us. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
We have to let her
All
stay.
right. Joining us for a final discussion on the show is an actor in a class of his own, Moshood Fattah.
Yes, indeed. Now, he is a Nigerian stage and screen actor whose performance in the Netflix series Far From Home, if you guys remember, and also Nigeria's biggest cinema release of all time, Battle on Second. Is it? First, actually.
Oh, it is first now.
A battle
Ooh,
on
look at
Booker
you.
Street. It is quite remarkable. He is. He's here. You are welcome, Moshood Fattah.
Thanks for having me.
Love your name. It's a perfect name for a villain, actually.
I agree.
There you go. I knew, yeah. We have a way of churning out villains on Wake Up Nigeria. The first one was, if you remember, what was his name?
That thief, the popular one. I've forgotten his name now. Yeah, but I'm sure it will come. It will come.
Yeah, we like villains.
Yeah, we love villains.
Good to have you here,
Rashid.
Good to have you.
You are a phenomenal actor. I just need to put that out there. And learning now that you have a background in theater arts, that just makes a whole lot of sense. Like, it just basically like caps it all. Talk us through your journey in, how did it all begin for you?
Oh, my story started with a condom.
Listen, that's exactly what I would have said. You asked for the beginning, didn't you?
I mean, you asked for it. I was about 3 years old. My uncle was at the house with my parents at the time, and he was a bad boy of sorts. He's late now, and he used to have condoms in the house. And at that time, there was a condom commercial running at the time. And as a child, you know how kids watch TV and they learn all the commercials? So I learned a particular condom commercial, all the lines in it. And I remember just seeing the condom in the house and just picked it up, went to the living room and performed
Get this raincoat.
it Can we do that?
No,
You
you
already
can't.
went and done that.
But she clocked it, and I performed it for my parents, and they just laughed. I had no idea what I was doing, but that was my first performance. And then I've been blessed to have parents who have been very supportive. And then I went on to study performing arts, University of Ilorin, where I was university scholar. I went on to do my master's in theatre arts, University of Lagos, and that was where I cut my teeth, so to speak. Did my first professional performance, Spirit of David, in 2015, The Butcher and the
Spirit
Bridge.
of David?
Yes, I am an honorable member of sorts. Did a show with them
nice.
since 2015, and then it's been shows here and there all over the world, and then TV and film came along, and it's been quite the journey. I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, I'm grateful.
Oh.
So now you've moved on into movies.
Yeah.
Would you say that's predominantly what you do now, or are you still invested in being a
Theatre professional?
I wouldn't say I moved on to movies. I've always done both side by side. As a matter of fact, when I was shooting Far From Home, I took a break to travel to Dubai for a show. And the weekend when Booker Street and Far From Home premiered, I was on stage at the Wilson Center performing. So it's always both home to me. I don't look at it as moving on to something or anyway. For me, it's just work.
Okay, so now theater movies, do you find that you have to actually kind of like break your real character to be able to perform one or the other? Is there a difference in the style? For theater, I would imagine that it's a very observatory type, to be or not to be type.
More strict, more rigid.
Yeah,
Nah.
but that's me as a lay
Fortunately,
person.
when I came into the industry, I had the good fortune of working with great production companies. I worked with Lufodo Productions, that's Joke Silva and Olu Jacobs. They had a company then.
Well, that's you on TV, by the way. You can see how...
Oh, look at me.
Yeah.
And we did a show, Heartbeat the Musical, Femi Jacobs, a couple of other stars. And it was my second time using a microphone. And I think one thing with theater now is when you use the microphone, you're more relaxed. It's not proclamatory, it's more, I could be talking to you like this on stage. So that kind of made it easy for me to seg into film.
Okay.
And then working with Melanie Austin Peters, doing shows at Terra Culture. Theater there is not like that. It's more relaxed, it's more finessed. So it just gave me that polish I needed to go into films. So yeah.
Let's talking about your projects on, your feature with Battle on Booker Street, right? That was a Funke Akindele's production. And, there has been a lot of speculations that working with Funke Akindele can be quite difficult. I would like to hear your experience.
You know what I think? I can't speak for anybody else.
Okay.
But in my own observation, I met her on the set of Far From Home.
Okay.
And, she is the biggest actor on the continent, largest following. And the way I am, I never approach a star without being introduced. So I never went up to her. I'm like, just keep your distance. But she just took a liking to me. She's like, who is that guy? I want to know who he is. Because she's been observing me. She's been asking questions like, and I found it weird. Why is she taking interest in me? And I had no idea what plans she had. And, after we did Far From Home, she called me up. She's like, hello, you're playing my son in my next movie. And I'm like, wait, what? I don't get to audition. She just called me up. And then, we got to set, and I got to watch her multitask, be a producer, be an actor, be a director, be a costumer, be a mother, be all of these things at the same time. And I'm like, this is a very hardworking person. Now, when you see someone who is going that hard, and then you have someone who has just one job, and they're not pulling up, you get pissed. Because it's like, I'm doing all of this, and then you have this thing, and you're not coming through. I can understand why she'll get angry. Now, she has told me that she has been she's been in the past, but she's really making the effort to be more, amiable with people. And I have seen her putting in the work, and I'm happy and proud of her.
I want to say that is a fantastic response.
Yes.
But that was a fantastic question.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ina.
And now, you said that she says she perhaps cast you, she already cast you as her son in her next movie. Now, it brings me to the roles that you're being cast as. First off, you've got this outlook. You look pretty young. Has that affected...
32.
I was coming there. Oh!
Yeah, he's not that young, but he looks absolutely young.
You're joking.
I am 32.
Easy now.
February 26th, yeah.
No way.
Yes, way.
MM. Get your clothes back.
Get your clothes back in.
Activated.
How old do you think I was?
You're looking like in your 20s.
Calm down now, girl.
I mean, I'll take that.
But shoot, her husband works at TVC News, just so you know, he's in the building. But so she's already cast you as a son. So that brings me to you being cast in your different roles. Does that have an effect in the casting process for you? Do people look at you and say, I want you to play this role, that role, and
instead
in
of
any
roles
way,
that you really want to play,
yeah,
right?
does it affect the roles that you really...
So a lot of people think I just came into the movie business, but I've been around for a while. I mean, I did stuff with Edith F. Young, Nia Kimolayo, Tolu Ajayi. Great short films that premiered all around the world. But one thing with me was, I told myself I wasn't going to do what I didn't want to do. If the character didn't feel right, the project didn't feel good, the money wasn't okay, I wasn't going to do it. And I had my theater career already, so I had something to rest on. So I really, really picked my projects. And when these projects came, I will say that, I mean, FFH was, Far From Home was a very grueling role because it's very far from who I am in real life.
It's far from home.
Took a lot of work. And,
You did?
Oh, yeah, because I don't speak Pidgin. I don't have, I'm Yoruba. So having to learn, having to
the accent.
get an accent, it was a lot of, I had to intern at a mechanics workshop for like 2 days just to know.
Did?
Oh, yeah,
That's interesting.
I had to.
Wow.
It was a lot of, but working on Battle on Booker Streets was a little easier for me, and I'm very grateful because you don't get to see a lot of roles for young men in Nigerian films where they get to like show their range, show emotional range. It's one thing to shout or be funny, but to show that you have depth.
True.
So I'm very grateful for that project. I know people haven't seen it, but I'm sure when it gets on stream, it's going to be a monster.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know we have to go quickly, but there was something you said that resonated with me, because I've had these conversations with a couple of people in the industry about actors being intentional with your roles, right? So I remember having this conversation with a friend, and then she was saying that, no, you're not hungry. And I was saying that I feel that you don't have to do every movie to be popular.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes you just have to be intentional, and I'd just like to hear your thoughts on that quickly.
Yeah, the thing is, so I'll tell you something. When Far From Home blew up, I wasn't ready for the kind of fame that came with it. It's still crazy for me sometimes.
Are you kidding?
And I think it got to a peak sometime in January, and I had to go to my priest just to talk and be like, okay, I think I'm losing it for a second. I need to get back on ground. And then he asked me, he's like, why are you an actor? Don't forget why you're doing this. It's not for the fame. It's not for the popularity. You love to act. That is the first thing. So whatever happens, focus on the why you started in the first place. So for me, it's not about being hungry or whatever. There are actors abroad who do a film a year.
And they've blown.
I mean, what's blow? When you think about it, what does it mean to blow?
Yeah, we're asking that questions here.
Yeah.
What does it mean to blow?
Popular, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be famous, I like to keep a low profile. I'm a brother, I'm a son.
You can say that now.
That's very
you're
obvious,
famous.
actually.
No, but I've always been that way, though.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, what funny thing is when you stepped in, you sat down, you were sitting with myself and Mary there, and I said to Mary, actually, that he reminds me of me from when I was a younger man. Now, that's one. Secondly, I'd like to say a better comparison, in quotes, is that if you remember the character in the Green Book, Mahershala Ali, Shirley.
I'll take that.
That's him.
I'll take that.
That's him right there.
I'll take that.
Oh, and then he looks like him. It's
What
just
I said was like
a
me.
son.
You didn't go.
You could cast as his son.
I'll take that. He's a phenomenal actor.
I'm speaking it into existence
Manifest.
for you. All right, please, thank you so much for being here, Moshood. I mean, we're going to serve you later on in the kitchen, but hey, let's see your work. Let's just,
Oh my God.
enjoy some of your work.
All right.
And maybe 2 shocks will send signals back into your brain.
Tell me who Mama T is. You make the call. Which you just call and go. Who did make this call? Which call? Who made this call on the phone?
Oh, that was beautiful. Welcome to the kitchen. Wow. And this is Chef Betty. And this morning she's made for you spaghetti bolognese. So dig in and let us know your thoughts on it. Go.
Oh, you need to take in the chef as well.
I'll give attention. I'll give attention.
Once the show closes, we'll pick up that food. Don't go chop that thing fast.
Mikey!
The show is closing.
What do you think?
A pass mark? An excellence? Oh, he goes for another one.
No, this time he's trying the pasta.
The
They tried the meats initially.
The meatballs, yeah? Well, they're not necessarily balls. But I can't wait to dig in myself. All right, Bushu, you have to hurry now.
All right, now I have to take my time because I'm a connoisseur.
Oh, wow, okay.
Spicy. Is there ginger in this? No? Oh, wow. Well, really well done. I like it. I like it. It feels very homemade.
Oh,
fantastic.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done. Thank you so much, Chef
Thank you.
Betsy. Thank you, Moshood, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moshood, for coming over. Fantastic interview there with you. Really enjoyed it.
for having me.
Finally got to meet you. And thank you everybody who's been watching. And we hope that you guys will be back again here tomorrow for another edition of Wednesday Edition.
Remember, it's International Women's Day, and it's going about women.
Yes, they will be running the world.
We will be running the world.
There's no point. I am Mike. My should not
Tomorrow,
be
7 a.m. brother. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.